So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be replacing the brakes on my BMW E90. I'm going to be focusing on the rears. It's going to be the same process for both front and rear, as well as with sensors and whatnot. But before we get into today's video, I just want to address a few things. One, it's quite echoey. I'm alone in the workshop, so it is quite echoey, so just bear with me for that. I am using resurfaced discs in today's video because I plan on upgrading to bigger discs and calipers in the long run, or maybe even sooner than later. But this will just get me by and get the car safe and everything, because it is feeling a bit spongy on the brake pedal, so I just want to get it safe. So now that I have that addressed, I'm going to show you guys how to remove the caliper, how to remove the discs, and I'm going to show you guys other things that I may have missed out in previous videos, linked in the corner up here, so you can check those out. We're going to go with resurfaced discs, new pad, but I am going to change the brake fluid all around, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. So yeah, without further ado, guys, let's get started in today's video. The first thing we're going to do is going to remove the spring tensioner. So I'm just going to take a pry bar or a flat screwdriver, give it some tension, and it just pops out like that. And I'm just going to set it aside. The next thing I want to do is I want to take the same pry bar and give some space to the caliper so I can release it. And now that we've got the caliper wound back and the piston all the way in, I'm going to take off the dust covers at the back and I'm going to remove the hex nuts that hold it in the slide pins. To remove the slide pin bolts, you're going to use a number 7mm hex key, and you're going to remove it. You can do it any which way you choose. Once you have the bolts loosened up, you can either get it undone by hand, or you can continue using with the ratchet. But I'm going to try with hand first, just so I can get it out. Okay, now that we got the guide pins off, I'm just going to push it back, I'm going to slide the caliper off, and I'm going to pull out the old pad. Now if you look at the condition of the pad, they're not actually that bad, but for 5-year-old pads, I say it's did its job, so I'm just going to replace them now. Now for the disc, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 6mm, and I'm going to take this locking screw off, like so. And I'm going to keep this aside. So you have to take the caliper bracket off, so I'm going to come in with a long arm and a 16mm, and I'm going to crack it open. Now as you can see, even though we moved the caliper and pushed the piston back as much as we could before we took it off, there's still a much more that it can go in. This is where this tool comes in. This is the caliper wind back kit. It's a complete kit for all types of brake calipers, whether it's right hand thread or left hand thread, whether it needs to be pushed back, whether it's got these dowels or whatever it is. Linked in the video description down below, you can check all the tools that's required and whatever I'm using, so you get that. So what we're going to use is this bracket here. Because it's the right hand thread, I'm going to be using the one that says RH, so right hand, so regular thread, and I'm going to be using this, which is what will be pushing the piston back in. So how this is going to work is you're going to take the bracket, you're going to push it through the handle, and that will slot against the caliper. This part goes into the caliper like this. You might need a smaller one, or you might need something bigger, whichever you want, but it slots into it like this, and it threads in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with it completely backed off. It should be fine like there. I'm going to slide it in like so, and push it in, and loosen it up so that it takes up all the slack. Once that's done, you should be sitting something like this. That way you can just turn this and push the piston all the way back in. As you guys can see, it's moving in, so we don't have to worry about that. This way the piston is all the way back in, and you shouldn't have anything to grab. Thereafter you can just loosen it up like so, and slide it up. Now that we got that part taken care of, it's time to put on the new disc, and it's just simple. It just slots in like so. Thereafter, you get your locking nuts once again, and you make it take thread, and then you tighten it up. You can use a torque wrench to torque it down. The correct torque specs and everything will be linked down in the video description down below, or if you want, you can check out a workshop manual. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I don't have a torque wrench that can go to this low specification. I'm just going to hand tighten it just so it doesn't move. At this point, we can get the caliper slide bracket put back in. So it's just a complete reverse of what we did before. So I'm just going to time lapse this now. Now when it comes to torquing it up, this locking screw gets torqued down to 16 Newton meters. Now like I mentioned, I don't have a torque wrench that goes down that low, so hand tight you get the feel of how it actually feels. So for the carrier at the back, that gets torqued down to 68 Newton meters. I have a torque wrench right here, it's set to 68 Newton meters. So I'm going to tighten that up now. Now with everything installed, what I like to do is get the brake pads now and just slightly do that, just so it takes off whatever unevenness it is there that's come from the factory. That way you can slide the outer caliper in first, and you can install the inner caliper into the piston. And once that's done, you can just slide it on. You can get the guide pins in just to a point where it's about to take thread, and you can start tightening it up. Now with the caliper and everything put back in, I'm going to put the dust covers back on so I don't forget, and then the retention clip. And the brakes are done. So now that we have this brake caliper and brake disc sorted out, I'm going to go to the right hand side of the vehicle where the sensor is located. So let me show you guys how to replace that as well. So just so you guys have a better look, you have your 6mm screw here, you have the two guide pins that fits over here, and then you got the two 16mm that holds this entire carrier down. Make sure that the handbrake is down before you attempt to remove anything, otherwise this disc is not going anywhere. So this is the condition of the old brake pad compared to the condition of the new one. Look at how much a difference in life that the pad has. So I'm curious, how much of life do you get out of your brake pads? It was replaced last in 2019. Video up in the corner over here so you guys can check it out. So from 2019 till now, this is the type of life expectancy that I've gotten. On the car, it is looking low. It still has quite a bit of life actually left, but it's best to always replace them. How the sensor works is once it gets to this point, once it breaks off in here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but that little indent over there, once that part there reaches, that's when the sensor gets activated. It opens up the circuit, that's what triggers the warning. Now that I got the connector out of the way, it's quite dusty. And this is the brake pad wear sensor. As you guys can see, it has been bypassed years ago and it's just been hidden like that. So now it's time to install a new one. If you notice, if you guys can see it, the sensor can only fit one way. It corresponds like this, so it only fits in one way. Behind the carpet liner, that's where the box sits in, and that's where you're able to route the cables. Now I can't put my phone there because it's too far and I'm only using one hand, but you get the idea. So for the sensor, it gave me a bit of a hassle. What I did is I just pushed it in and took a back end of a screwdriver, I just tapped it in and it went in. So that part's taken care of, and now I can close everything up. So now that we've got the brakes taken care of, I'm going to start the car, pump the brakes up and everything just to bring it up to where it needs to be. And thereafter I'm going to do a complete brake fluid flush. I'm going to show you guys how to do that afterwards. So as you guys can see, this is the color of the brake fluid that came out of the reservoir. So I'm going to replace that with new fluid in the bottle, and then I'm going to start from the most outer wheel, which will be the left rear wheel. So how this is going to work is we're going to come from the most outer end to the most inner end. What I mean by that is we're going to start from the furthest point away from the reservoir to the closest. So we're going to start from the left rear, then we're going to go to the right rear, then we go to the left front, then we go to the right front, and then we top it up. And that's when you're done. So you open up the bleeder screw, you're going to get, it's a 9mm, and then you're going to crack it open once you have the bleeder connected. So I got the bleeder here. I'm going to attach the hose to the nipple itself, and then I'm going to open it up. Use the compressor and pull the fluid through. You're going to continue pulling until you can see the change in color. So for the front, I'm going to do it on the car. So I got the bleeder pipe on the inside, and it's an 11mm for the front bleeder nipples. It's 9mm at the back, 11mm at the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it up a little bit, and we're going to pull the fluid. Now with the job done, I sprayed over some copper anti-seize on the surface plate so that the wheel does not get stuck to the hub itself. Now it's time to close everything up. And same for the other side. So what you're going to do next is you turn the ignition on and you're going to press and hold the trip reset button. You'll get this triangle, and then you should get the service intervals. Now you got brakes, and then you're going to press the button once. It'll say reset. You're going to press and hold it. It'll come up with a timer, and then it's reset. Now it says June 2026. While we're at it, we're going to reset the rear brake pads as well. So you're going to scroll to the rear brake pads. Once again, PC button, you press it once, and then you press and hold, and then it'll come up with a reset. So the clock icon will come up, 21,000 Ks, which is fine. and done. So there you have it, guys. Brakes done, brake fluid change done, all in this video completed. So if you enjoyed the video and you found it informative, please do give me a thumbs up. It really helps me grow on YouTube. As well, leave your comments and feedback down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, if you're interested in workshop manuals, use Preshaan22 at checkout via the link down in the description down below, via emanualsonline.com. Everything in the video description, so you guys can check it out. All tools and products that I've used will all be linked in the video description. And yes, I did not speak about the quality of the pads. Pads are subjective. You can get whichever ones you want, whichever ones you feel like. But that's it for me. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.